What up is Marcus Dynasty Dads. We have round 2 of our Superflex rookie mock draft with landing spots. Again, we have DeAndre Swift signed jersey. When we hit 2K, we'll be giving it away to one of you guys. If you have not watched round 1, that was yesterday. And so I'm not even going to give you a rundown of the recap. You can just flip over to there, and that will be able to give you an idea of who was drafted. Number 13. This is I wouldn't say shocker. He should be in round 1. I cannot see a landing spot situation that ends up being this poorly for Anthony Richardson, who's number 13. He goes to Washington. Ooh, that sounds good in round 2. Which I don't know if this is going to be the Malik Willis fall. Like, Malik Willis was a top 10 pick, and then all of a sudden fell off the map. I don't think that the same is going to happen for Anthony Richardson. I think he's going to be a top 15 pick. I would put money on it that he'd be a top 10 pick unless something bad happens. But Anthony Richardson, Washington, round 2. Only reason, if he's round 1, you're moving him up into that 8-9 range, but you can't because he's a round 2 quarterback. They just don't succeed as much. We have to go through some analytics here, and I'm putting money on some other positional players besides Anthony Richardson. But if you're desperate in need of a quarterback and you're at the end of round 1, go for it. I mean, honestly, shoot your shot. All right, number 14, 202. We have Zay Flowers out of Houston. Now, he gets Bryce Young as his quarterback. There's no other wide receivers there Nico is not it. I mean, you just look at the other competition around him. I mean, he's going to be on a bad team. At least, I mean, Houston did a little bit better towards the end, but he's going to be on a bad team. Zay Flowers, I think, is a good wide receiver. I like him as a top 6-7 wide receiver in this class, and he goes to Houston. He gets the draft capital. I think win-win. You're going to have another wide receiver right after him here that I also like, but it's hard. I go. These two are so close to me in my rankings when it comes to wide receivers. And the next one is Josh Downs. He goes to Tennessee, round 2. You're gonna have Treylon Burks there. Who knows who the quarterback is? They gotta be able to throw it to. They have to have somebody that can throw it to the wide receivers. So Josh Downs here is gonna be a little bit lower just because we don't know who the quarterback is. If I give you a tiebreaker again, both round 2 capital, Zay Flowers, Josh Downs, the only thing, if they're going to be in the same round, it's just going to be landing spot. Which one's going to be the tiebreaker there for me? And Zay Flowers gets it, Houston over Tennessee, which if you would have told me that 12 months ago, I would have been like, what? What's happening? But again, this is Dynasty, and that's why landing spots can just change so drastically much. You can be in a good landing spot, and then it can be horrible, just like that, all of a sudden, or you can be traded. That can happen as well. Number 16. Dalton Kincaid. I love Dalton Kincaid. He is looking like a great tight end. And if he goes to the Jaguars in round 1, which he is here, number 16 overall, it's tough in Superflex not to have him higher. This is not tight end premium, or else you'd move up a couple spots. But Dalton Kincaid here, Jaguars. We saw what Evan Ingram did. Now, I'm assuming with this round 1 draft capital that Evan Ingram is not back then. But I guess we'll have to we don't know. We're just going to have to assume. What was it? Assume means that you're asked of you and me or something like that? Oh, if you assume, that means whatever it is. Anyways, Dalton Kincaid. The next one is going to be, and I don't really like Cedric Tillman here, but he's round 2 draft capital, which you have to respect, and he goes to the Chargers, which you have to like. And so this kind of reminds me of the Josh Palmer pick of a couple of years ago, where I was not a fan of Josh Palmer. I've never been a fan of Josh Palmer. I keep hearing all these Josh Palmer loves, and this is where you have to look at tape and go, do you like this person? And so like Cedric Tillman gives me a lot of I don't know if I want Josh Palmer. I don't want Josh Palmer 2.0. But round 2 draft capital, Cedric Tillman, this is where he's at. That's where I'm going to put him. All right, number 18, kind of the same thing. Kenny McIntosh with Carolina. I don't know why he's a second-round draft pick for a running back. I don't know why Carolina is drafting Kenny in the second round. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand. But he's a round 2 running back, so he goes to number 18 here. I mean, he's got the draft capital. I mean, he's not round 3. We're not talking Trey Sermon. We're not talking Zach Moss. I mean, he's round 2 draft capital. I mean, that's steep price. I mean, we're talking steep price here for you. So Kenny he's going to be Carolina round 2. Number 19. We're going through these a little bit faster so you guys don't have to go through it too much. Rashee Rice Rashee Rice, round 2, New England. I like Rashee. I just think that New England is an okay spot. You're going to have Mac Jones, I assume, be the starter for the next couple of years. Maybe you'll see a little bit of Bailey Zappi or whoever the heck else Bill Belichick wants to start, or if they can any of them stay healthy. So Rashee Rice, round 2. Again, we have round 2 players. This is kind of where they're going to go. I mean, you're going to have players that are going to have some holes and some gaps in their games, and you're going to have some landing spots that you might not like right off the bat. And so, number 20, Luke Musgrave out of Detroit. He goes to Detroit, round 2. I like the spot for Luke. I think that this is a good spot for him to fill into that tight end spot. I mean, TJ Hawkinson gone, and so I think he ends up making somewhat of an impact in Detroit over the next couple of years. And so I think that Luke Musgrave's spot is a decent spot for him. And again, he's not going to be ahead of Dalton. He's not going to be ahead of Michael Mayer, but a tight end 3 is likely where he's going to be sitting around. Tight end 3, 4, right around there. Number 21, and this is one of the biggest fallers here, Kayshon Boutte. Saints, round 3. Again, you have a little bit of Michael Thomas left. You have Chris Olave, who is an excellent wide receiver. And Kayshon just is reminding me of the Terrace Marshall PTSD. I know that I was a huge Terrace Marshall fan, and I'm not a big Kayshon fan either. I'm really not. I see the glimpses, but I don't know. There's some worry there for me. And I'm not sure exactly why that is. There's just maybe deep rooted down there. I have some Terrace Marshall where I had Terrace one of the lowest of anybody, and I got harassed for it so much that I was like, okay, fine. If everyone likes him, this is the problem. What happens if everyone likes him? You're like, okay, I'll move him up a little bit. And thank goodness I actually had an opportunity to draft Terrace Marshall. Or trade. I actually traded that pick out of that pick, and I traded back like 3 picks. And I actually, I know this is just a random story, and you don't care, and no one ever cares. But it's just I traded back 2-3 picks. Terrace Marshall got picked, and then I ended up falling into Amon-Ra St. Brown. Because I liked Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I was like, I like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kadarius Toney, kind of in that same category. I'm like, if I move back a couple spots, I'm fine with one of those 2. And it went Terrace Marshall, Kadarius Toney went right before me, and I was like, fine, I will just take Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I'm so happy that happened. So sometimes you fall into luck like that. Number 20 is, was it Kendre Miller? Yep, Kendre Miller. Houston goes to share the backfield with Dameon Pierce. Round 3 running back. I like Kendre Miller. I thought he was adequate there at TCU. I think that he's going to be a decent running back at Houston. I think that just is going to make the Dameon Pierce backfield a little bit more muddy. I mean, look at Dameon Pierce, round 4 draft capital, and then you have Miller, who's round 3 draft capital. I think they split the backfield, and if for some reason Miller ends up being the starter or ends up taking that spot away from Dameon Pierce, which I think they're right around the same talent-wise, so I wouldn't necessarily bank on that. But, I mean, he's round 3 draft capital, so I definitely do like that. And you have Bryce Young at quarterback, so you're hoping that offense, maybe not even in 2023, but 2024 or 2025 ends up being a lot better offense, and Miller ends up being a big chunk of that. Number 23, and I think I probably should have put him a little bit higher, Sean Tucker here. He goes to Philly round 3. I just don't know what this means. Does this mean Miles Sanders is gone? I would assume so. But Kenneth Gainwell is an adequate running back, and I really do like Kenneth Gainwell. I'm just so sad that he was drafted so late. I mean, Kenneth Gainwell was one of my favorite running backs, and I was so pumped to have him be a top 6-7 dynasty pick in his draft class, and then he got just drafted. It was like round 5, round 6, and I was like, maybe I'm not watching the tape right, because he was better than Antonio Gibson, and Antonio Gibson was, I believe, round 3 draft capital for Washington. Well, it was round 2 or round 3. He was in the 60s, I believe. So right around that, maybe early round 3. And so I was all pumped that Kenneth Gainwell was going to be the man, one of the on a team, and he goes to Philly behind Miles Sanders, round 6. I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. But guess what? I love myself some Kenneth Gainwell, so that's why probably Sean Tucker's lower than maybe you would think. Number 24, Roschon Johnson on the Giants. Boo. He gets round 3 draft capital, but now he's behind Saquon Barkley, which sucks. So what are you going to do? You got to bank on it, because if Because if Saquon, he goes behind Bijan to Saquon, that's just unfair for Roschon. Sometimes people just get dealt like that in life, and maybe that's just Roschon Johnson's life. But he's round 3, and if Barkley, who has not been healthy last year he was, but the previous years he was not healthy, if he ends up getting hurt, Roschon could end up being a stud for you. So a huge handcuff here. Number 25, Tyjae Spears, Atlanta, round 4. Tyler Algier had the quietest 1,000 yards. I like Tyler Algier, but I like Tyjae Spears better. And if you're going to have him on Atlanta, I mean, this could easily be that Kansas City pick. I could see them picking a Tyjae Spears. I could see a lot of different teams. I could see a Minnesota drafting Tyjae Spears. I could see, I could even see like even a Detroit if Jamal Williams doesn't sign. I could see a lot of different teams draft Tyjae Spears. I love Tyjae. And if he was round 3, we're moving him up 4 or 5 picks, probably at least. Maybe even a little bit more. So, number 26, Tanks Bigsby, Raiders, round 4, Zamir White, I believe round 5 capital, if I remember right. And so you're looking at a backfield maybe split between these two. Maybe another veteran comes into the Raiders. We'll see. I mean, the Raiders are in rebuild because they got C.J. Stroud yesterday in round 1. So, Tanks Bigsby. That's where I have him. Let me know what you disagree with. I don't care if you can hurt my feelings a little bit. It's all right. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I just try my best. All right. Peace out. Take care. We'll see you guys soon.